Many ancient legends speak of a miraculous spring, capable of curing all illnesses, granting eternal life, and bestowing immense power. It is called the Fountain of Youth. For hundreds of years, countless people have yearned to find it, but none have succeeded. However, a group of young adventurers, with their passion for history and talent for thievery, have uncovered a trail leading them to this ancient wonder. What difficulties and obstacles will they encounter on their journey, and will they truly be able to find the Fountain of Youth? Let's find out right now. The movie opens in the bustling city of Bangkok, where a man named Luke Perdue is speeding down the road on a scooter. It might not look like much, but in the tube on his back, he's carrying a painting worth $1 million. Suddenly, a car pulls up, and the person inside demands Luke hand over the painting, saying it belongs to his boss. But Luke says, "No way," skillfully brakes, turns his scooter around, and tries to escape. The streets are crowded, but luckily, riding a scooter makes it easier to weave and dodge. Soon after, he gets a call from a member of his team named Muff. Luke tells Muff he's in trouble. Distracted, he crashes into the car of the people from earlier and tumbles several times. Taking advantage of the chaos, Luke endures the pain, gets up, and continues to flee. The enemies are still close behind, not hesitating to open fire in a crowded place. Over the phone, Muff instructs him to catch a train from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, where the team is waiting. After much weaving and dodging, he finally manages to escape his pursuers and boards the train safely. As night falls, and exhausted Luke drifts off to sleep. In his dream, he sees himself holding a golden mask, the mask of Ini, the sun god. He jolts awake and notices a striking woman sitting opposite him. Sensing she's no ordinary tourist, Luke cautiously strikes up a conversation. The woman knows Luke's name and says she's collecting rare and unique paintings, like the one Luke possesses. She reveals she has bodyguards nearby and advises him to cooperate, obediently. Before Luke can react, one of them chokes him from behind. The woman snatches the painting and leaves, but it's not that easy. Our hero fights back, struggling and grappling, doing everything to reclaim his property. Finally, Luke manages to lock his opponent in a room, climbs onto the roof of the train car, and then jumps off to escape. The next day in London, Luke's sister, Charlotte, is finalizing her divorce. Her husband seems intent on taking everything. But Charlotte doesn't care about material possessions, she just wants joint custody of their 11-year-old son, Thomas. Afterward, Charlotte goes to the museum where she works as an art curator. Suddenly, she hears a familiar voice. It's her brother, Luke. Suspicious, Charlotte questions his sudden appearance. But Luke brushes it off, saying, "What's so surprising about siblings meeting after a long time?" Then Luke asks if she's satisfied with her boring curatorial job and if she ever reminisces about their past adventures with their father, a famous treasure-hunting archaeologist. Charlotte replies that was 10 years ago. Luke deliberately causes a distraction to divert his sister's attention while he steals the painting hanging on the wall and runs off. The alarm blares, and Charlotte chases after him. Outside, Luke tells her to get in the car and promises to return the painting. Reluctantly, she jumps in, and they speed like bats out of hell through the quiet streets of London to evade the pursuing police. Finally, Luke drives the car into the back of a transport truck, successfully evading pursuit. When Charlotte gets out, she's stunned to see Luke is still working with their late father's old team. Charlotte then scolds him for his reckless behavior, but Luke defends himself, saying life is about risks and adventure, not the predictable lifestyle she has chosen. At this point, Muff reveals there's nothing behind the painting. Confused, Charlotte asks what he means. Luke, also looking disappointed, tells his sister to calm down and take a breath, then unexpectedly sprays something that makes her pass out. When she wakes up, Charlotte finds herself sitting on a park bench. She then rushes back to the museum. By now, the police have cordoned off the area to investigate. Soon after, she meets Interpol agent Jamal Abbas. He tells her that her brother, Luke, is linked to a series of high-profile art thefts. Though not surprised, Charlotte replies that she knows nothing. Strangely, when the door is opened, the painting Luke stole earlier has been returned to its original place. Later, Charlotte goes to Muff's house and calls for Luke. There, she's greeted by Deb, another member of their father's old team. Charlotte is furious, blaming Luke for costing her her job. Just then, a man named Owen Carver introduces himself and reveals he's funding their expedition. Owen explains he's dying of cancer and believes that if the mythical Fountain of Youth truly exists, it could save him. Charlotte scoffs at his optimism, saying such a thing doesn't exist. But Owen counters, if it doesn't exist, why does it appear in ancient texts from Herodotus to the Mahabharata? Even Alexander the Great searched for it. Luke then shares information about a 9th century Tibetan scripture that hints at the fountain's location, though it has been hidden from humanity by the gods. Owen adds that its location has been protected for generations by a secret group known as the Guardians of the Path. Luke admits he encountered one of these guardians in Thailand. He believes that if they discover the fountain's location, their names will be etched into history forever. Muff chimes in, explaining that in the 1600s, 6 famous painters made a pact to reveal the location of the Fountain of Youth. Each of them embedded a clue in one of their paintings. They've found 5 of them. Each painting also contains a unique marked letter. However, the 6th painting, the one stolen from Charlotte's museum, has no information. Charlotte quickly deduces the real reason her brother sought her out: he needs her expertise to solve the puzzle. Luke doesn't deny it. Charlotte then explains that the version in the museum is almost certainly a fake. But she won't help, because Luke has jeopardized her custody battle. Owen steps in, saying he has a team of top lawyers who can handle it. Reluctantly, Charlotte gives Luke's team a few clues about the real painting. Luke goes to the library to investigate. While researching, he again encounters the mysterious woman. She introduces herself as Esme and warns him to stop searching for the fountain, saying it will bring disaster. Luke doesn't seem to care much and jokes around. This displeases Esme, who utters a few more threats before leaving. The next day, Charlotte is watching her son, Thomas, play the piano. Luke appears and reveals they've found the location of the real painting thanks to her clues. He then invites Charlotte to join their expedition. When the practice ends, the boy runs to his uncle and greets him enthusiastically, eager to hear about his latest adventures. The boy is also very passionate about adventure, just lacking the opportunity. That afternoon, the team boards a boat heading towards the location of a ship that sank long ago. During World War I, it was sunk by a German U-boat, and among the passengers was the owner of the painting. According to their research, it's still sealed in a watertight safe on board. They attach flotation devices to the bow of the wreck, intending to raise the compartment containing the safe to the surface. At this point, Charlotte also decides to join, which somewhat surprises Luke. After gearing up, they board a small boat and head towards the shipwreck. While en route, Charlotte recalls their previous expedition to Ecuador, where their father was searching for the golden mask of the sun god. But Luke says their father never actually found it. Charlotte objects, because their father told her he had found it but chose to leave it behind rather than keep it for himself. Outside, a helicopter is approaching them. It's Esme and her heavily armed men, rappelling down. Muff tries to contact his teammates via radio but gets no response. Meanwhile, deep inside the wreck, Luke and Charlotte have located the room containing the safe. After some time using an oxygen cutter to open it, Luke retrieves the perfectly preserved painting from inside. The two siblings are overjoyed, immediately put it in a bag, and quickly try to leave. But they don't get far before running into Esme. And, of course, this time her goal is still to steal Luke's painting. The two sides don't waste words and immediately engage in martial arts. As the situation tenses, Esme takes Charlotte hostage, demanding Luke hand over the painting. He hesitates. But before he can respond, the flotation devices break, causing a massive influx of water into the ship. Luke and Charlotte use this opportunity to narrowly escape. Back on their boat, she is furious that her brother was willing to risk her life for the painting. The next day, Charlotte receives a video call from her husband. He informs her that he's been invited by a billionaire named Owen Carver for a consulting job in Japan for a year. He asks Charlotte to take care of their son, which, of course, she happily agrees to. Inside, Deb informs them that the 6 letters they collected from the paintings are completely unrelated. They've tried cross-referencing them with the names of 500 ancient cities, but to no avail. Luke suggests trying astronomical positioning, but that also leads nowhere. Charlotte points out that since the letters are Latin, the letter V could actually represent the letter W. Thanks to that idea, they check again and discover the next clue is an ancient Bible, which might hide information to help find the path to the Fountain of Youth. Luke explains that although most copies of this Bible were destroyed, he knows a place that might still have one. Before he can reveal it, the agent and his investigation team suddenly kick down the door. He says, "I've been investigating your thefts for a long time. Pulling these thief stunts is an insult to your late father's lifelong archaeological legacy." Suddenly, the Thai gangsters also burst in, pointing guns and ordering everyone to get down. Luke, thinking quickly, offers to give the leader all the paintings he has, worth billions of dollars. But if he wants them, he has to let Luke's team go first. Seeing this as a good deal, the Thai boss immediately agrees. As Luke stands up, pretending to get the paintings, he manages to create chaos, giving the police time to intervene. Both sides exchange gunfire wildly. In the chaos, Luke slips out the back, jumps onto a boat, and escapes. The team then boards Owen's private jet to Austria, where the last copy of the ancient Bible is kept. Upon arrival, they are welcomed like celebrities because Owen has just made a substantial donation to the library. Muff stays outside to keep watch, while Luke, Charlotte, and Deb are allowed into a secret room where valuable documents are stored. A staff member takes the ancient Bible out of a glass case for them to see. Meanwhile, Owen and Thomas are enjoying a fancy meal at a restaurant across the street. Just then, Muff sees Esme and her men entering the library. So, he warns Luke's group, "Your girlfriend is here, and she's brought a bunch of beefy guys with her." Hearing this, Luke steps outside to find her. Speak of the devil, Esme is right behind him. This bickering pair can't see each other without getting physical. After some back and forth fighting, Luke finally manages to hang her upside down from a chandelier. The library exits are blocked by Esme's men, so they have to change their plan. Deb sprays the staff member with something, knocking her out immediately. Seeing this, Charlotte looks horrified. They then take the ancient Bible, detonate a C4 charge, creating an escape route into the city's sewers. Over here, Owen and Thomas leave the restaurant but find Esme's men outside trying to force them into a car. But Owen takes them down in a flash. Surprisingly, he can do that. Back at the hotel, Thomas excitedly recounts Owen's fight with the two thugs. Charlotte is horrified and quickly checks if the boy is injured. She confronts Luke, furious that her son was put in danger. Just then, Muff announces he's found a repeating sequence of 1029 digits on the gilded page edges of the Bible, consisting only of numbers from 1 to 7. But they can't figure out what kind of code it is. It doesn't seem to be mathematical. Charlotte, still angry, takes her son and leaves. But as they reach the hotel lobby, the boy tells his mother, "We're looking at the problem the wrong way. It's not math." So, they both go back, and Charlotte asks Thomas to explain what he told her. Thomas says the digits represent musical notes. A true genius. Muff cross-references it with old recordings and discovers the sequence is the melody of an ancient song, praising the 7 wonders of the ancient world. They overlay the clues from the paintings onto a world map, each clue corresponding to a wonder. The final and only missing wonder is the Great Pyramid of Giza. The team immediately boards a plane to Egypt. On the way, Luke has another nightmare. He sees himself taking the golden mask, and someone next to him seems to be turning to ash. Luke jolts awake. Charlotte is sitting opposite him and questions Owen's wealth. Why is he so rich? It certainly can't be from legitimate business. Somewhere in Vatican City, Esme admits her failure to her superior, the elder. She tells him that a man named Luke has taken the Bible and is close to solving the mystery. The elder warns that the power of the fountain has been hidden from humans for millennia because it is too dangerous, too powerful, and too tempting. Giving her a key, he says, it is time to become the hand of judgment. Over here, on the helicopter, Luke briefs the team. Built in 2600 BC, the Great Pyramid contains hidden chambers since the pharaohs used them to hide their scriptures and secret knowledge. However, scientists recently used technology to create 3D scans of the pyramid, revealing a secret passage beneath. Charlotte is pensive, warning Luke not to take anything that doesn't belong to them from the pyramid. She also finally reveals that when she asked her father why he didn't take the golden mask of the sun god Ini, he simply replied, "There are things you cannot explain. You can only experience them." An hour later, the team lands in Egypt. Owen welcomes a professor, an expert on the pyramids. Luke arranges for Deb and Muff to stay outside and watch for Esme's group. When they enter the pyramid, Owen orders his men to drill through a wall. This desecration of the monument infuriates the professor. Charlotte says she might be able to find some kind of activation mechanism to open the chamber instead of drilling, but Owen doesn't listen. At this point, he just wants to find the Fountain of Youth as quickly as possible. Noticing something is off with this man, Charlotte expresses her concerns to her brother. But Luke brushes it off, saying a few drill holes won't hurt anything. After drilling, the team discovers a secret passage behind the wall. Following the corridor, they reach a large chamber with a massive stone in the center. Theoretically, it needs to be moved to open the way. But Luke and Charlotte aren't sure how to do it. Outside, the agent's team has also arrived. Gunfire erupts. Owen's security team here is ready to eliminate anyone who approaches. A fierce gunfight ensues. Just then, Esme and her armed team also appear, ready to join the fray. Inside, after struggling unsuccessfully to move the stone, Owen seems impatient and orders his men to prepare tools to break it. However, Charlotte warns against it. She tells Luke that Owen is becoming increasingly reckless, and the presence of machine guns here suggests he's not interested in reasoning. At this point, a subordinate reports that this is fossilized stone. Normal drilling would take a week. Owen suggests using explosives to speed things up, but this is going too far. Even Luke objects. While they are arguing, Thomas observes the ancient walls and starts tapping a rhythm, a melody from the song hidden in the golden pages of the Bible. His rhythm perfectly matches the inscriptions and seems to resonate with the entire structure. Charlotte spots a mallet and strikes it. A deep sound reverberates through the room. The massive stone suddenly moves easily, revealing another secret passage. Without hesitation, Charlotte, Thomas, Owen, and Owen's close associates step onto it and descend into the heart of the pyramid. Outside, Deb and Muff, seeing the officers being overwhelmed, decide to assist. But unfortunately, during the fight, Deb is shot. While the two are surrounded, Esme fortunately appears to rescue them, single-handedly taking down Owen's entire security detail. When Esme enters the pyramid, the agent also follows, saying they are on the same side and wants to join. Deep underground, Luke, Charlotte, and the others enter a dark, square room. Strange, paradoxical inscriptions line the walls. Blessings are curses. Angels are demons. Blessed are those who drink without thirst, but the thirsty betray themselves. In the center of the room is an ancient carving of the Tree of Life, dating back to Babylonian times. Charlotte takes a piece of amber from a nearby statue, known as Firestone, which, according to legend, protects the Tree of Life. She places it on the wall, and because of it, a door lowers, and another room opens. However, their destination lies far below, too deep to jump. After fumbling around for a while, Luke discovers a loose stone on the floor and turns it. As if activating a hidden mechanism, a staircase gradually appears, leading deeper underground. The group follows it down. The ground suddenly splits into several sections, revealing the glittering fountain of life beneath them. But very little water remains, seemingly just a small puddle. Owen tells Luke to drink first to see if it's safe. But Luke freezes, reminding Owen that this expedition was originally for him. Not surprisingly, Owen then reveals he was never actually sick. He orchestrated the entire expedition to gain power, control, and even greater wealth. Without warning, Owen shoots Luke in the shoulder and orders him to drink. Luke reluctantly approaches the water, but suddenly the water level rises slightly. As his blood touches the water, the magical water begins to envelop him. Just as he's about to drink it, Luke sees the reflection of his sister and nephew aging rapidly. He realizes that if he drinks, he will essentially steal their finite youth, potentially causing them to die of old age instantly. So, Luke chooses to refuse, not to drink. Strangely, his wound heals immediately, as if nothing happened. Owen is curious and asks why he did that. Luke calmly says, "It's all yours. Go experience it yourself." Then, Owen cuts his own hand and lets his blood drip into the pool. The water immediately reacts. And of course, for a greedy person like him, drinking this divine water is the obvious choice. Esme, watching from above, rushes to seal the fountain once and for all with the key the elder gave her. She recalls their earlier conversation. The elder instructed her to use the key if an evil person drank from the fountain. If someone drinks this water, it will take the lives of their loved ones. However, if that person only cares about themselves, they will gain infinite power, power that could lead to humanity's destruction if it falls into the wrong hands. For a fleeting moment, Owen becomes young, strong, and full of life. But then his body begins to convulse, his face contorting. He ages rapidly, screaming in agony. The ground trembles as the fountain begins to collapse. At this point, the group turns and flees. Charlotte, Thomas, and Luke barely make it out. Owen's close associate slips and falls. Luke also nearly falls, but Esme appears just in time to pull him up. Outside, the agent, having witnessed everything, decides not to arrest them. Esme tells Luke that some things are better left undiscovered. She kisses him on the cheek as a farewell. Finally, Charlotte decides to join her brother on his quest for ancient artifacts. This is the movie, Fountain of Youth, which was just released a few days ago. It's an American action-adventure film, and basically, there's nothing particularly special about it. The plot is disjointed and not very logical, and the action scenes are acceptable. It's something to watch if you have free time, but it's not overly compelling.